Okay, so now that I've made that point, I think, perhaps too strongly with regards to the color, let's finish actually designing this thing, modeling it. Currently, it doesn't really do anything. It's just a solid thing. Let's add some fun movement to it. For one, I would like to add some kind of like bumps, some like energy ripples, if you will, going up the side of it. So I'm going to say, make an attribute noise, which Houdini just redesigned, actually. We'll put that here before the polywire. We'll use the attribute noise to modify that width attribute. So width was a float, so we'll type width here, and as you can see already, it has done that. Now it's still not animated. So I'm going to say go down to animation. As you can see, it's all redesigned now. Turn on animate noise, and now you can see it's changing. So now it's just arbitrarily moving, which is fine, but I think it would be much more interesting if it moved in a direction, almost as if it is moving up, away. You know, it's radiating out from this wizard person here, or statue of a wizard person, perhaps. So I'm going to say go to the offset area. Now we have this one value here, but if we click on this, I can control it better. If I offset it in the Y direction, it looks like it's literally moving up. See that? This is what this lesson's all about. We're going to be getting animation and simulation looks by not simulating. So offset here will be based on time. Now we could have done that without animate noise being on, like so. I just want both. I want it to be changing on its own, but also have a feeling that it's moving. I'm going to say move it a lot more. So there you go. Now when I press play, you can see it looks like it's going up. So it's changing here and there, but it also has the sensation of it going up and away. And that's what I want. You know, because I feel like it. Not because it's correct or accurate or whatever. I just think it looks interesting. What are we doing here for the values, though? Let's multiply by the incoming value. Let's say either make it half as wide or make it twice as wide. In this way, with it off, it looks like this. And with it on, it still roughly looks like that. It's just half as wide some places and twice as wide in others. So we still have the general shape now because it's being multiplied. So I hope you agree that looks pretty cool. One last thing I'd like to do is do an overall width. Like the whole entire thing here could actually, I think, be modified. So I'm going to say let's scale the original width value by some scalar value to just make a new channel. Click this. Right now it's back to 0 because the new parameter just made it set to 0. Obviously if I put it back to 1 it would look the same as before. I'm going to put an old school Houdini expression here that's going to say, I'll give myself enough room for this. I'm going to say noise. Now this is not Vex, this is Houdini's old expression language. I'm just trying to show you multiple ways of doing things. We can look up into this standard built-in noise thing. It takes a three-dimensional value, an x, y, and a z. I'm just going to give it a 0 to 0, and then just some time. So we're going to use time to look up into our noise, and that will return a value from 0 to 1, or something like that. If you right-click and hold on a parameter, you can say isolate and channel list, which will show it to us in here. This is like a graphing calculator, perhaps for any of you old enough to remember graphing calculators. In any case, it's showing us what this will evaluate to over time. So you can see right here, it's quite low, as, and so on. So it's just charting it all out. It looks like the values are going from about, maybe about negative 0.3 to 0.3 or so. So it's not quite from 0 to 1. Let's remap this whole thing and say fit those values from, we'll make it say from negative 0.5 to 0.5 and we'll remap them to some other values. I'm going to say 0.75 to 1. And now you can see it did that. So the output values are 0.75 to 1, which we can see is about right. You can see even it got chopped off here where it went below 0.75. But we are now confident that our output values are about that. And that is being multiplied by our entire thing here. So it's just a little bit of extra on this to make it a little bit more flickery even than we would have had otherwise. Perhaps the effect is subtle, but I think it's nice. In fact, I'm going to say, let's make it more flickery. I'm going to say the time times 5. So it will run through this faster. Meaning, I lost it. You can click on this button here at the picture of the graph if you lose it. Where is my thing? Oh, there it is anyway. So yeah, there you go. So now you can see it's, once I change this, like this, it was much longer. Now we're going to basically multiply time times 5 to compress this thing. And there you go. So it's a little bit more flickery now, but we still have that feeling of it going up. And there you go. So I think that's enough for this little beam here. Let's move on to something more interesting.